As extreme weather events like flooding become more common, parents are asking how they can prepare their child in the event of an emergency and what should they expect from schools. Joining us now is Edward Siegel, a nationally recognized expert in crisis management and leadership strategies with Edward Siegel Communications. Glad to have you with us.
Good to be with you today.
So you say to have an appropriate plan and an appropriate conversation with your child. How do you start that conversation without inciting too much fear within them?
Well, chances are they've seen or heard stories about flooding in their area or heard stories from their friends at school, or so they might already be aware of it. And because of the dangers of floods, they might also have already asked their parents about floods and how it might affect them. If they haven't brought up the subject of floods recently, I think it's appropriate to mention it to them again. Maybe they've seen the story about it, but you say it's really important, Johnny or Susie, that you remember what floods are all about and how dangerous can be. And I want to have a conversation about what you should do to help protect yourself and your friends.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I came from earthquake country, so we were definitely taught how to stop and go under our desks and stay away from windows and all those things. So it's a matter of life, and it can happen anywhere. But especially when it comes to schools, how should parents approach the schools that they're sending their kids to make sure that there is a plan in place? And then we'll get to if they don't have a plan in place, which I can hardly imagine many schools don't. But if they don't, how to have that conversation. So why don't we start with some of the questions that parents should be asking as they send off little Johnny and Susie to school?
Well, step one, don't wait to ask the school officials if they have a crisis management plan in place to deal with floods or other weather-related disasters. And if they have the plan in place, when was the last time it was updated? And importantly, when it was the last time it was tested? I always tell my crisis management plan clients that having a plan and not testing it is like having no plan at all. You have no idea if it's going to work when it's needed. So have those plans in place. And because of the increased dangers of climate change, it's really important that those plans reflect the latest dangers that climate change is posing for all of us.
Yeah.
And then ask the schools, how have they tested the plans to make sure they're going to work? What were the conditions? What did they learn from when those plans were tested? And how are they going to notify the parents that they do have those plans?
Right.
How do the parents have an opportunity to provide feedback and questions to school officials? So I think those are some of the initial
Sure.
questions.
In your experience, do schools tend to have these plans in place and to voluntarily share them with parents?
No. Usually, my experience, not necessarily with schools, but just companies and organizations in general, recent surveys have shown that most organizations don't have plans in place, and even if they do, they haven't been tested. So I don't expect schools to be any different than other organizations around the country.
What are some of the signs that a school's not adequately prepared?
Number one, they've had issues in the past with flooding, but they haven't done anything to respond to it. Number two, they had floodings, but they didn't tell the parents there were any issues, and they had to learn about it with the news reports or on social media. So I think those are the dangers. And importantly, if they haven't gotten any communications at all from school officials, then I think it's time to raise their hand and ask those important questions sooner rather than later.
And if you don't like the answers to those questions, how should you respond as a parent?
Speak up, express your outrage, express your concern, and don't be shy in demanding actions. In fact, if parents would like to see what a good crisis management plan looks like, I have a crisis management plan template that I'd be glad to share with them, and they could use it when they have those conversations with parents. They can go to my website at crisiscasebook.com, and there's a link and a button to push, and they'll receive that crisis management plan template right away.
Perfect way to wrap up this conversation. I want to thank you so much, Edward Siegel, for joining us today.
Thanks. Good to be with you.
We're back after this.